You've worked hard for decades. You've been disciplined, lived within your means, and put money aside for the future. But now, as you look toward retirement, a subtle voice of condemnation whispers in your ear. It's a voice from bad theology that says your savings are a sign of greed, a lack of faith in God's daily provision, and that a true believer would give it all away. This lie creates a terrible tension between the wisdom you've practiced and the guilt you're made to feel. Today, we deliver a crucial, unpopular opinion. Saving money is not a sin. In fact, it is a fundamental act of biblical wisdom and stewardship. The root of this confusion lies in a misuse of one of the most famous verses in the Bible. We must return to 1 Timothy 6 verse 10, which does not say that money is the root of all evil, but that the love of money is. This is the critical distinction that false teaching ignores. The sin is not the possession of resources. It is the idolatrous affection, trust, and obsession with those resources. Saving money is a neutral action, a tool. That tool becomes sinful when your heart shifts from trusting God as your ultimate provider to trusting your bank account as your ultimate security. The act of saving is wisdom. Making your savings your God is idolatry. This directly confronts the core lie of the prosperity gospel, which often shames responsible people into giving away their necessary savings under the false promise of a miraculous hundredfold return. This seed faith manipulation preys on the vulnerable and contradicts the Bible's clear mandate for prudent foresight. God is not a celestial vending machine who requires you to bankrupt yourself to prove your faith. He is a wise Father who calls us to manage what He has entrusted to us with intelligence and care. The book of Proverbs is overflowing with this very wisdom. It commands us, "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest." Proverbs 6 verses 6 to 8. God Himself points to the natural world and praises the instinct to prepare for the future. Saving is not a lack of faith. It is the application of the faith-filled wisdom that God Himself has revealed. Furthermore, we must correctly understand the parable of the talents. The servant who was condemned was not condemned for saving the money, but for hoarding it, for burying it in the ground out of fear and laziness, and producing no return for his master. The faithful servants were the ones who wisely invested and multiplied the resources. This parable condemns irresponsible inaction, not responsible planning. Saving with a purpose, for future needs, for investment, for strategic generosity, is exactly the kind of active stewardship the Master commends. For those in the 55-plus demographic, this truth brings immense practical and emotional freedom. The Bible gives you clear permission to plan for your legacy. The Apostle Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 14 that children should not have to save up for their parents, but parents for their children. Providing an inheritance is a biblical principle. Your savings are not just for you. They are a tool to bless your family and protect them from future hardship. Ultimately, saving is what enables strategic, rather than sporadic, generosity. When you save wisely, you are not building a fortress around your wealth. You are building a reservoir of blessing. This reservoir allows you to meet a massive need in a time of crisis, to fund a ministry project, or to leave a legacy that advances the gospel for generations. This is the opposite of greed. It is the pinnacle of wise, forward-thinking stewardship. Your disciplined saving is not a sin. It is a God-given tool for providing for your family, securing your witness, and amplifying your generosity. Let go of the religious guilt and embrace the freedom of being a wise and faithful steward of all God has given you. If this truth shatters a burden of false guilt, you are stepping into the freedom of biblical stewardship. At Bible Echo, we replace condemnation with wisdom and fear with faith. If you're ready to manage God's resources with confidence, subscribe now.